In the gleaming metropolis of Xiron, the wealthiest planet in the galaxy, the trial of Valter Zyre was the event of the millennium. The Xiron Judicial Hall, a colossal structure made of shimmering crystal and floating platforms, was packed with spectators from across the stars. Holographic news drones hovered above, broadcasting every moment to billions of viewers. Valter Zyre, a towering figure with iridescent scales and piercing yellow eyes, stood defiantly in the defendant's pod. He wore an elegant, flowing robe embedded with precious stones, a stark contrast to the cold, metallic surroundings. His legal team, composed of the galaxy's finest advocates, argued fervently, but the evidence was insurmountable. "Valter Zyre," the judge's voice echoed through the hall, "you have been found guilty of evading taxes amounting to trillions of Xiron credits, money that should have funded countless public projects and aid programs." Valter's lips curled into a slight sneer. "I am a businessman. I find opportunities and seize them. If the system is flawed, it is not my fault for exploiting it." The judge, a being of immense stature with a luminescent aura, leaned forward. "Your arrogance knows no bounds, Zyre. Your actions have consequences. As punishment, you are hereby exiled to Earth, a primitive planet in the Sol system. You will live among the humans, stripped of your wealth and influence." A murmur of shock rippled through the audience. Earth, a backwater planet known for its rudimentary technology and chaotic societies, was the ultimate humiliation for someone of Valtor's status. Valtor's eyes narrowed. "You can't do this. I demand a retrial." "Your appeal is denied," the judge declared. "The sentence is final. You will be transported immediately." As Valtor was escorted out, the reality of his fate began to sink in. Stripped of his power and riches, he would have to navigate a strange new world with only his wits and determination. The vast deserts of Earth stretched endlessly as Valtor's luxurious spaceship descended. The harsh sunlight glinted off the vessel's sleek surface, a stark contrast to the barren landscape below. With a shudder, the ship touched down, and the ramp extended with a mechanical hiss. Valtor stepped out, the dry, hot air hitting his face like a physical blow. His once imposing figure now seemed out of place in this desolate environment. His eyes, accustomed to the vibrant colors and bustling life of Xiron, struggled to adjust to the monotony of sand and rock. A group of nomads, clad in loose, flowing garments to protect against the sun, watched curiously from a distance. As Valtor approached, they murmured among themselves, trying to make sense of the strange figure before them. One of the nomads, an elderly man with a weathered face and piercing blue eyes, stepped forward. "You are not from around here," he said in halting English. Valtor, relying on his advanced translation device, responded smoothly. "I am a traveler in need of assistance. Can you help me reach the nearest city?" The old man eyed him suspiciously but nodded. "We can take you to the city. It is a long journey, but we know the way." As they set off, Valtor couldn't help but feel a pang of vulnerability. He was used to commanding fleets and negotiating with the galaxy's elite, not relying on the kindness of strangers. The nomads' simple ways and deep connection to their environment were alien to him, yet strangely fascinating. The journey was arduous. They traveled for hours under the relentless sun, stopping only to rest in the sparse shade. Valtor, unaccustomed to such physical exertion, found himself struggling to keep up. The nomads, however, moved with practiced ease, their resilience a testament to their harsh life. Finally, as dusk fell, the glittering lights of Los Angeles came into view. The sprawling city, a chaotic blend of modern skyscrapers and dilapidated neighborhoods, was a stark reminder of the complexity and unpredictability of human society. Valtor's disguise, a holographic projector embedded in his bracelet, activated automatically as they entered the city. To the humans around him, he now appeared as an average, albeit unusually tall, man. He thanked the nomads and made his way into the urban jungle, his mind racing with plans to restore his former glory. The bustling streets of Los Angeles were a sensory overload. Neon lights flashed from every direction, the cacophony of voices and vehicles creating a constant background noise. Valtor's sharp eyes scanned the surroundings, taking in every detail. As he wandered the streets, a young woman bumped into him, nearly knocking him over. "Watch where you're going," she snapped, before noticing his confused expression. You lost or something? Valter, still adjusting to his human guise, nodded. Yes, I am new here. Can you help me? The woman sighed. Name's Maya. And yeah, I can help you, but it'll cost you. Valter smirked. I think we'll find a way to make it worth your while. Thus began Valter's integration into human society, with Maya as his reluctant guide. Little did they know, their unlikely partnership would lead them into the heart of Earth's hidden dangers and unforeseen alliances. Valter followed Maya through the tangled streets of Los Angeles, his senses on high alert. The city's chaos was both fascinating and overwhelming. Neon signs flickered, advertising everything from food to dubious services, and the air was thick with the scent of street food and exhaust fumes. Maya led him to a small, dimly lit diner. She slid into a booth and gestured for him to sit. So, what's your deal? She asked, her eyes narrowing suspiciously. You don't look like a tourist. Valter hesitated. He knew he had to be careful. Let's just say I'm here on personal business. I need to understand this place if I'm going to survive. Maya snorted. Survive? You make it sound like a war zone. But yeah, Louisiana can be rough if you don't know your way around. She leaned back, crossing her arms. I can help you, but like I said, it'll cost you. Information isn't free. Valter smiled, though it didn't reach his eyes. I understand. What do you want in return? Money, Maya said bluntly, or something valuable I can trade. Your fancy clothes suggest you have some means. Valter's mind raced. He still had a few items from Zyron that could be valuable, but he needed to use them wisely. I have something that might interest you, he said, pulling out a small, intricately designed bracelet. It shimmered with an otherworldly light, even in the dim diner. Maya's eyes widened. What is that? Let's just say it's from a place far from here, Valter replied cryptically. It has certain properties that could be very useful. Maya studied him for a moment, then nodded. All right, deal. First things first, we need to get you some basic human gear. You're going to stick out like a sore thumb otherwise. They spent the next few hours in various thrift stores, Maya helping Valter pick out clothes that would help him blend in. He felt a strange mix of amusement and frustration at the process. By the end of the day, he looked every bit the part of an average urban dweller. As night fell, Maya took Valter to a rooftop overlooking the city. The view was breathtaking, a sea of lights stretching as far as the eye could see. This city, Maya said, it's a beast, but if you know how to tame it, you can get anything you want. Valter nodded, a new resolve forming in his mind. He would learn to navigate this human jungle and find a way to reclaim his power. Valter and Maya quickly discovered that Los Angeles was not just a city of dreams, but also a hub for intergalactic miscreants. Valter's attempts to contact his home planet using human technology had been futile, so they turned to the black market, hoping to find someone with more advanced capabilities. Their search led them to a dilapidated warehouse on the outskirts of the city. Inside, the air was thick with tension and the smell of burnt circuitry. Tables were strewn with alien technology, and beings of various species haggled over prices in hushed tones. Maya guided Valter through the maze of stalls. This is the place, she whispered. If anyone can help you, it's here. They approached a booth run by a wiry man with cybernetic eyes. Looking for something special? He asked, his voice a mechanical rasp. Valter leaned in. I need to contact Zyron. Do you have the technology to make that happen? The man's eyes flickered, scanning Valter's face. Zyron, huh? Not a common request. It'll cost you. Valter produced another piece of Zyron jewelry. The man's eyes widened. That'll do, he said, pocketing the item. Follow me. He led them to a back room filled with advanced equipment. This is a secure comms unit. Should get your message through, but be quick. The Federation monitors this stuff. Valter nodded, stepping up to the console. His fingers danced over the controls, and a holographic screen flickered to life. He quickly typed out a message, encoding it with Zyron encryption. As he pressed send, the screen flashed red. Warning, unauthorized transmission detected. The man cursed. You tripped an alarm. We need to move now. Suddenly, the warehouse door burst open, and a squad of armed aliens stormed in. Galactic Federation, everyone freeze. Chaos erupted as buyers and sellers scattered. Valtor and Maya ducked behind a table, narrowly avoiding a blast of energy. "We need to get out of here," Maya shouted. Valtor nodded, his mind racing. "This way!" He led Maya through a side exit, the sounds of battle echoing behind them. They emerged into an alley, panting. "That was too close," Maya said, her eyes wide with fear. Valtor frowned. "The Federation knows I'm here. We need to be more careful. But at least the message got through." Maya nodded. "So what's the plan now?" Valtor's eyes gleamed with determination. "We find the galactic criminals hiding on Earth. If I can't go home, I'll make this planet my new domain. And we'll start by taking down anyone who gets in our way." As they made their way back into the city, Valtor felt a strange sense of exhilaration. He was a long way from regaining his former glory, but for the first time, he saw a path forward, and with Maya by his side, he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Valtor and Maya's search for information led them to an opulent underground club known as the Nexus. Hidden beneath a seemingly abandoned warehouse, the Nexus was a melting pot of intergalactic criminals, corrupt officials, and the galaxy's elite, all seeking refuge or fortune on Earth. The air was thick with the scent of exotic spices and the hum of conversations in countless languages. As they entered, a holographic hostess greeted them. "Welcome to the Nexus. How may we assist you today?" "We're here for the poker game," Maya replied, her voice steady. The hostess scanned them both, then nodded. "Right this way." They were led through a labyrinth of corridors to a lavish room where a high-stakes poker game was in full swing. The players were a mix of humans and aliens, each one more dangerous-looking than the last. At the head of the table sat Torvok, a notorious alien mob boss with a reputation for ruthlessness. Valtor and Maya took their seats, and the game began. As the cards were dealt, Valtor scanned the room, noting the presence of armed guards and discreet surveillance devices. He knew they had to play their cards, both literal and metaphorical, perfectly. As the game progressed, Valtor displayed a natural talent for reading his opponents. His sharp eyes caught every tell, every nervous twitch, and he used this to his advantage. Maya, meanwhile, subtly hacked into the club's systems, searching for any information that could give them an edge. Torvok, a hulking figure with dark scales and a menacing grin, leaned forward. "You play well, stranger, but everyone here has a story. What's yours?" Valtor met his gaze without flinching. "I'm a businessman looking for opportunities. Earth has untapped potential, and I intend to make the most of it." Torvok chuckled, a low, rumbling sound. "Bold, but boldness can get you killed around here." Before Valtor could respond, the door burst open, and a group of heavily armed bounty hunters stormed in. "Valtor Zire, you're coming with us!" Chaos erupted. Players overturned tables, and guards drew their weapons. Valtor and Maya sprang into action. Valtor grabbed a blaster from a fallen guard and returned fire, while Maya used her hacking device to create a temporary shield around them. "Back exit now!" Maya shouted, leading the way through a hidden door. They dashed through narrow corridors, the sounds of pursuit close behind. As they burst into an alley, Maya quickly sealed the door with an electronic lock. "That won't hold them for long," she panted. "We need to disappear." Valtor nodded, already scanning for their next move. "We have to find allies who can help us navigate this underworld, and I think I know just where to start." Valtor and Maya's narrow escape from the Nexus left them shaken but resolute. With the bounty hunters on their trail, and the realization that they needed powerful allies, they decided to pursue a new lead: the rumored artifact hidden somewhere on Earth. The artifact, said to grant immense power, was a prize sought by both the Galactic Federation and the criminal underworld. Their search led them to an ancient library in the heart of the city. The library, a towering structure of stone and glass, was said to house texts and relics from countless civilizations. Inside, the air was cool and filled with the scent of old books. Valtor and Maya approached the head librarian, an elderly woman with piercing green eyes. "We're looking for information on a specific artifact," Valtor said, showing her a sketch of the relic. The librarian's eyes widened slightly. "That artifact, It is said to be hidden in a place of great power. Follow me." She led them to a secluded section of the library, filled with ancient tomes and scrolls. "The artifact you seek is known as the Heart of Ether. It was hidden on Earth centuries ago by an advanced civilization that predated humanity. According to legend, it lies in the ruins of an ancient city deep within the Amazon rainforest." Valtor and Maya exchanged a glance. "How do we find these ruins?" Maya asked. The librarian handed them a faded map. "This will guide you, but be warned, others seek the Heart of Ether, and they will stop at nothing to claim it." With the map in hand, Valtor and Maya set off for the Amazon. The journey was long and arduous, filled with perils both natural and man-made. They trekked through dense jungles, crossed raging rivers, and narrowly avoided deadly traps set by those who had come before them. After days of travel, they finally reached the hidden city, a sprawling ruin overgrown with vines and foliage. The air was thick with humidity, and the sounds of wildlife echoed around them. As they ventured deeper into the city, they encountered strange symbols and ancient technology, remnants of the lost civilization. In the heart of the ruins, they found the entrance to a hidden chamber. The door was adorned with intricate carvings and sealed with a powerful energy field. Valtor studied the symbols, his fingers tracing the patterns. "These markings, they're similar to Xiran runes. I think I can decipher them." After several tense moments, the energy field dissipated and the door creaked open. Inside, the chamber was illuminated by a soft, ethereal glow. At the center of the room, on a pedestal, lay the Heart of Ether, a pulsating crystal of immense beauty and power. As Valtor approached the artifact, a sense of awe washed over him. He reached out, but before he could touch it, a voice echoed through the chamber. "I wouldn't do that if I were you." Valtor and Maya spun around to see Raj, the rogue archaeologist, standing in the doorway with a smug grin. "You've led me right to it," Raj said. "Now step aside." Valtor's eyes narrowed. "You betrayed us." Raj shrugged. "It's nothing personal, just business." Before Raj could make a move, the room was filled with a blinding light. The artifact activated, and the ground shook violently. "What's happening?" Maya shouted over the noise. Valtor grabbed her arm. "We need to get out of here now!" They sprinted towards the exit as the chamber began to collapse. The ruins shook, debris falling all around them. As they emerged into the daylight, the ancient city crumbled behind them, burying the Heart of Ether once more. Panting and covered in dust, Valtor and Maya looked back at the ruins. "That was too close," Valtor said, "but we can't let Raj or anyone else get their hands on that artifact." Maya nodded. "We need a new plan, and fast." Determined to protect the artifact and outmaneuver their enemies, Valtor and Maya prepared for the next phase of their journey, knowing that the stakes had never been higher. Valtor and Maya retreated to a hidden safe house in the city, the adrenaline of their narrow escape still coursing through their veins. The safe house, a rundown apartment with reinforced walls and an array of surveillance equipment, was their sanctuary amidst the chaos. Maya sat at a cluttered table, her fingers flying over a holographic keyboard as she monitored communications and scanned for any news about Raj or the artifact. Valtor paced the room, his mind racing. Raj knew too much. Someone must have tipped him off. Maya nodded, her eyes never leaving the screen. "I've been thinking the same thing. We need to find out who else is involved and what their plans are." Suddenly, an alert flashed on the screen. "Incoming transmission," Maya said, tapping a key to accept it. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the face of an unexpected ally, Kira, a former Galactic Federation agent who had gone rogue. "Kira," Valtor greeted her cautiously. "What do you want?" "I have information," Kira said, her voice steady. "The Federation is moving against you. They're planning a large-scale operation to capture you and seize the artifact. Raj was just the beginning." Valtor's eyes narrowed. "Why are you telling us this?" Kira smirked. "Let's just say I have my reasons for wanting to see the Federation fail. Besides, I owe you one, Valtor." Before Valtor could respond, the transmission cut off, leaving them in tense silence. "We can't stay here," Maya said, breaking the quiet. "If Kira knows, then others will too. We need to move." Valtor nodded. "Agreed. But we need to be strategic. We can't afford any more mistakes." They packed their essentials and slipped out of the safe house under the cover of darkness. As they navigated through the maze of alleyways and abandoned buildings, Valtor felt a growing sense of unease. Every shadow seemed to hide a potential threat, every sound a possible danger. Their destination was a remote warehouse on the outskirts of the city, rumored to be a meeting point for dissidents and rebels. It was a place where secrets were traded and alliances forged in the shadows. As they approached the warehouse, Maya whispered, "Stay sharp. We don't know who we can trust." Inside, the warehouse was dimly lit and filled with figures shrouded in cloaks and hoods. Valtor scanned the room, recognizing faces from his past and new ones alike. At the center of the room stood a makeshift stage, where a tall, imposing figure addressed the crowd. "Welcome, friends," the figure said, his voice echoing through the space. "We gather here tonight because we all share a common enemy, the Galactic Federation, and we all know the value of the artifact hidden on this planet." Valtor stepped forward, drawing the attention of the crowd. "I am Valtor Zyre," he declared, "and I intend to protect the artifact from those who would misuse it, but I need your help." Murmurs of recognition and interest spread through the crowd. The speaker on the stage nodded. "We have heard of you, Valtor. You have a reputation for defiance. What do you propose?" Valtor took a deep breath. "We unite. We combine our resources and skills to outmaneuver the Federation. Together we can protect the artifact and use its power to our advantage." The crowd fell silent, considering his words. Finally, the speaker nodded. "Very well. We will join forces. But remember, trust is earned. We will be watching you, Valtor." As the meeting broke up, Valtor and Maya were approached by a cloaked figure who revealed themselves to be Alara, a skilled infiltrator with a network of spies. "I can provide you with intelligence and safe passage," Alara said. "But in return, I need your help to free my people from Federation control." Valtor agreed, seeing the potential for a powerful alliance. With new allies and a growing network, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. They would protect the artifact and challenge the Federation's dominance, no matter the cost. The alliance with Alara and the rebels breathed new life into Valtor and Maya's mission. They now had a network of operatives across the city, providing them with information and resources. But the threat from the Galactic Federation was growing, and they knew they needed to act swiftly. Late one night, as they were poring over maps and plans in a safe house, an urgent message came through Alara's encrypted channel. "Federation forces are closing in on your location. You need to move now." Valtor and Maya sprang into action, grabbing their gear and preparing to flee. The safe house had multiple escape routes, but they knew the Federation would have them covered. "We need a diversion," Valtor said, his mind racing. Maya nodded, quickly setting up a series of holographic projectors and explosive devices. "This should buy us some time," she said, her fingers flying over the controls. As they activated the devices, the safe house filled with flashing lights and the sounds of battle. Holographic decoys of Valtor and Maya engaged in a fierce firefight with imaginary enemies, drawing the Federation forces' attention. Valtor and Maya slipped out through a hidden tunnel, emerging in a narrow alley several blocks away. The night was silent, but the distant sounds of sirens and explosions told them the diversion was working. They moved swiftly, sticking to the shadows and avoiding main streets. Their destination was an old subway station, long abandoned and forgotten by the city above. It was a perfect hideout, with multiple exits and enough space to house their growing band of rebels. As they descended into the dark, musty tunnels, they felt a momentary sense of relief. Inside the station, Alara was waiting with a group of armed rebels. "You made it," she said, her voice tinged with relief. "We've set up a temporary command center here. We should be safe for now." Valtor nodded. "Thank you, Alara. We need to regroup and plan our next move. The Federation won't stop until they have the artifact." Alara led them to a large room filled with maps, weapons, and communication equipment. "We've intercepted Federation transmissions," she said. "They're mobilizing their forces. It looks like they're planning a full-scale assault on the city to find you and the artifact." Maya's eyes widened. "We can't let that happen. The collateral damage would be immense. Valter agreed. We need to strike first, disrupt their operations, and buy ourselves more time. As they discussed their plans, a young rebel burst into the room. Valter, Maya, you need to see this. He led them to a small monitor showing a live feed from a Federation base. Raj was there, speaking with a high-ranking Federation officer. The artifact's location is compromised, Raj was saying. We need to move quickly. Valter clenched his fists. Raj, he's the key to their plans. If we can capture him, we might be able to turn the tide. Alara nodded. Agreed, but it won't be easy. The Federation will have him heavily guarded. Valter smiled grimly. Then we'll have to be smarter and faster. Gather our best fighters. We're going to hit that base and capture Raj. The rebels moved with precision, preparing for the assault. As they geared up, Valter and Maya took a moment to themselves. Are you ready for this? Valter asked. Maya nodded, determination in her eyes. We've come this far, I'm not backing down now. Valter squeezed her shoulder. Together we can do this, for the artifact and for the future of this planet. Under the cover of darkness, they made their way to the Federation base, their movements silent and coordinated. The base was heavily fortified with patrols and surveillance everywhere, but Alara's network had provided them with detailed schematics, and they knew the weaknesses in the defenses. As they approached the perimeter, Valter signaled for the rebels to spread out. Maya hacked into the base's security systems, creating blind spots and disabling alarms. With a silent nod, Valter led the charge, their mission clear: capture Raj and uncover the Federation's plans. They moved through the base like shadows, taking out guards and avoiding detection. Finally, they reached the command center where Raj was located. Valter burst through the door, his blaster aimed at Raj. It's over, Raj. Raj turned, his face a mask of surprise and fear. Valter, wait! I can help you. Valter stepped closer, his eyes cold. Start talking. You have one chance. As Raj began to reveal the Federation's plans, Valter knew that their fight was far from over. But with the information they now had, they stood a chance. The battle for the artifact and the future of Earth was just beginning. With the information extracted from Raj, Valter and Maya learned the exact location of the heart of Ether, buried deep within an ancient hidden city in the Amazon rainforest. The Federation's plans were clear. They intended to use the artifact to gain unparalleled power, and they would stop at nothing to achieve it. Gathering their allies, Valter and Maya embarked on a perilous journey to the Amazon. The rainforest was dense and teeming with life, a stark contrast to the urban jungles they were used to. The air was thick with humidity, and the sounds of exotic birds and distant wildlife filled the air. Alara, now a trusted ally, led the way with her network of scouts. The hidden city should be just ahead, she said, consulting the ancient map they had recovered. But we need to be cautious. The Federation might already be here. As they pushed through the thick undergrowth, the ground beneath their feet began to change, becoming more uneven and littered with ancient stones. Finally, they emerged into a clearing, and there it was, the hidden city, a sprawling ruin overgrown with vines and foliage, hidden from the world for centuries. The city was a breathtaking sight with towering stone structures and intricate carvings that hinted at its once great civilization. But there was no time to marvel. They needed to find the heart of Ether before the Federation arrived. They split into groups, each searching a different part of the city. Valter and Maya, along with Alara, made their way to the largest structure, which appeared to be a temple. As they entered, the air grew cooler, and the light dimmed, casting eerie shadows on the ancient walls. This place gives me the creeps, Maya whispered, her voice echoing softly. Let's find the artifact and get out of here. They navigated through a series of dark corridors, their way lit by the soft glow of Valtor's advanced equipment. The walls were adorned with strange symbols and murals depicting scenes of an advanced civilization's rise and fall. Finally, they reached a massive chamber at the heart of the temple. At the center of the room, on a pedestal surrounded by a faint, pulsing light, lay the heart of Ether. The artifact was a crystalline structure, glowing with an otherworldly energy that seemed to pulse in rhythm with the heartbeat of the Earth itself. As Valtor approached the artifact, a sense of awe washed over him. "This is it," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "The power contained within this could change the fate of the galaxy." Before he could reach out to touch it, the ground shook violently, and the air was filled with a deafening roar. "We've been found," Alara shouted, drawing her weapon. Federation forces burst into the chamber, their weapons trained on Valtor and his companions. "Valtor Zyre, step away from the artifact," the lead officer commanded. Valtor, Maya, and Alara exchanged glances. They knew they were outnumbered, but they couldn't let the Federation take the heart of Ether. "We fight," Valtor said, his voice firm, "for the artifact and for our future." A fierce battle erupted in the chamber, the air filled with the sounds of blaster fire and the clash of energy weapons. Valtor fought with a ferocity born of desperation, his alien strength and advanced weaponry giving him an edge. Maya used her hacking skills to disrupt the Federation's communications and disable their weapons, while Alara led their allies in a coordinated assault. Despite their efforts, the Federation forces were relentless. Just as it seemed they would be overwhelmed, the artifact began to glow brighter, and a wave of energy surged through the chamber, knocking everyone off their feet. Valtor staggered to his feet, his eyes fixed on the heart of Ether. "It's reacting to the conflict," he realized. "We need to control it, or it could destroy us all." Gathering his strength, Valtor reached out and touched the artifact. A surge of power coursed through him, and he felt a connection to the ancient civilization that had created it. He understood now that the heart of Ether was not just a weapon, but a tool of immense potential. With a focused effort, Valtor channeled the artifact's energy, creating a protective barrier around his allies and pushing the Federation forces back. The chamber shook as the artifact's power surged, but Valtor held firm, his determination unwavering. Finally, the Federation forces retreated, realizing they could not overcome the artifact's power. As the dust settled, Valtor, Maya, and Alara stood victorious, the heart of Ether secure in their possession. "We did it," Maya said, her voice filled with relief. "But this is just the beginning." Valtor nodded, his eyes still glowing with the artifact's energy. "The Federation will come back, and others will seek the artifact's power. We need to protect it and use it wisely." With the hidden city as their new base, Valtor and his allies prepared for the next stage of their battle, knowing that the fight for the future of Earth and the galaxy was far from over. The hidden city had become a fortress for Valtor and his allies. Using the advanced technology left behind by the ancient civilization, they fortified their position and prepared for the inevitable return of the Galactic Federation. Scouts were sent out to monitor enemy movements, and plans were laid for a final confrontation. Valtor stood on a high balcony overlooking the city, his eyes scanning the horizon. Maya joined him, her face serious. "Our scouts report that the Federation is regrouping," she said. "They're bringing reinforcements. This is going to be a full-scale assault." Valtor nodded, his expression grim. "We need to be ready. The heart of Ether is our best defense, but we need to use it wisely. We can't let it fall into their hands." As night fell, the city was bathed in a soft, ethereal glow from the heart of Ether. The rebels moved silently through the streets, making final preparations. Alara coordinated their defenses, her tactical expertise proving invaluable. The first sign of the Federation's approach was a low rumble in the distance, followed by the sight of their ships on the horizon. The ground shook as the Federation forces landed, deploying troops and heavy artillery. Valtor stood at the entrance to the temple, the heart of Ether in his hands. He felt its power coursing through him, giving him strength and clarity. "This is it," he said to Maya and Alara. "We stand our ground here." The battle began with a deafening roar as the Federation forces launched their attack. Blaster fire lit up the night, and explosions rocked the city. Valtor used the artifact to create energy barriers, protecting his allies and repelling the enemy. Maya was everywhere, hacking into the Federation's systems, turning their own technology against them. She disrupted their communications, disabled their weapons, and created chaos in their ranks. Alara led the ground forces, her strategic brilliance turning the tide of battle. Despite their best efforts, the Federation's numbers were overwhelming. The rebels fought bravely, but they were pushed back towards the temple. Valtor knew they couldn't hold out much longer. As the Federation forces closed in, the heart of ether began to glow brighter, its power reaching a critical point. Valtor realized he had to take a desperate gamble. "Maya, Alara, get everyone inside the temple," he shouted. They obeyed, gathering the remaining rebels and retreating into the temple. Valtor stood alone at the entrance, the artifact in his hands. He focused all his energy on the heart of ether, channeling its power into a single, devastating attack. A blinding light filled the temple, and a wave of energy surged outwards, sweeping through the city and into the Federation forces. The ground shook, and the air vibrated with raw power. The Federation troops were thrown back, their ships and weapons disintegrating in the blast. When the light faded, the battlefield was silent. The Federation forces were in disarray, their morale shattered. Valtor staggered, the effort of wielding the artifact taking its toll on him. Maya and Alara rushed to his side, supporting him as he collapsed to his knees. "We did it," Maya said, her voice filled with awe. "We drove them back." Valtor nodded weakly. "The artifact, it's more powerful than we imagined. We need to be careful. We can't let anyone misuse it." Alara looked out at the devastated battlefield. "This isn't over. The Federation will regroup, and others will come for the artifact. We need to be ready." Valtor, with the last of his strength, stood tall. "We will be. We have the heart of ether, and we have each other. Together, we can protect this world and build a better future." As dawn broke over the hidden city, Valtor and his allies stood united, their resolve stronger than ever. The battle for the heart of ether had been won, but the war for the future was just beginning. They would face whatever came next with courage and determination, knowing that they held the key to the galaxy's fate in their hands. With the Federation forces temporarily defeated, the hidden city became a sanctuary and command center for Valtor and his allies. They used the respite to regroup, repair, and strengthen their defenses. However, Valtor knew the heart of ether's immense power was both a blessing and a curse. They had to understand and control it to protect it from future threats. Valtor spent countless hours in the temple, studying the artifact. Its energy pulsed with a rhythm that seemed almost alive, resonating with the ancient technology that surrounded it. He felt a deep connection to the artifact, as if it were trying to communicate with him. One evening, as he meditated before the heart of ether, he experienced a vision. He saw the rise and fall of the ancient civilization that had created the artifact. They had used its power to build wonders and achieve incredible feats, but their greed and lust for power had ultimately led to their downfall. The artifact had been hidden away, waiting for someone worthy to wield it wisely. When Valtor emerged from the vision, he was filled with a sense of purpose. He knew he had to use the heart of ether not just for defense, but to inspire and uplift. He called a meeting with Maya, Alara, and the other leaders of their alliance. "The artifact is more than just a weapon," Valtor began. "It holds the knowledge and wisdom of an ancient civilization. We must use it to rebuild and protect, to create a future where such power is not abused." Maya looked skeptical. "But how do we do that? The Federation won't stop coming after us, and there are others who will want the artifact for themselves." Alara nodded. "We need to establish a secure base of operations and build alliances with other factions. We can't fight everyone on our own," Valtor agreed. "We start by uniting the scattered resistance groups across the planet. We offer them protection and the promise of a better future. With the heart of ether, we can show them the way." Over the next few weeks, Valtor and his team worked tirelessly to reach out to other resistance groups. They traveled across the globe, meeting with leaders and showing them the artifact's power. Slowly but surely, they built a coalition of allies, united by the common goal of resisting the Federation and protecting Earth. The hidden city transformed into a bustling hub of activity. Engineers and scientists worked to integrate the ancient technology with modern innovations, creating defenses and tools that were unparalleled. The heart of ether became the cornerstone of their efforts, its energy harnessed to power everything from medical facilities to communication networks. One night, as Valtor walked through the city, he saw the results of their hard work. The once ruined structures were now vibrant and alive, filled with people working together towards a common goal. He felt a sense of pride and hope that he hadn't experienced since his exile. Maya joined him, her eyes reflecting the same hope. "We've come a long way, Valtor, but we can't let our guard down. The Federation will come back, and we need to be ready." Valtor nodded. "I know, but we have something they don't, unity and purpose. With the heart of Ether, we can inspire others and build a future worth fighting for." As the coalition grew stronger, the Galactic Federation prepared for a final, all-out assault on the hidden city. They could not afford to let the heart of Ether remain out of their control. The Federation amassed a massive fleet, intending to crush the resistance once and for all. Valtor and his allies received intelligence about the impending attack. The tension was palpable as they convened in the command center, a sprawling room filled with holographic displays and strategic maps. "Our scouts report that the Federation fleet is mobilizing," Alara said, her voice calm but resolute. "We estimate they will reach us in 48 hours. Valtor took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the responsibility on his shoulders. This is it, the final battle. We must use everything we've learned and built to defend the heart of Ether and protect our people. Maya stepped forward. "We've prepared for this. The city's defenses are stronger than ever, and our allies are ready. We just need to hold the line." The hours before the attack were filled with frantic preparations. Engineers fine-tuned the energy shields powered by the heart of Ether, while soldiers and resistance fighters fortified their positions. Medics set up field hospitals, and supply lines were secured. As the Federation fleet approached, the hidden city stood ready. The night sky lit up with the glow of the Federation ships, a sight both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Valtor stood at the forefront, the heart of Ether in his grasp, its energy pulsing in sync with his own heartbeat. The battle began with a deafening explosion as the Federation ships opened fire. The energy shields held, deflecting the initial barrage, but the sheer force of the attack was staggering. Valtor focused on the artifact, channeling its power to reinforce the shields and support his allies. Ground forces clashed in the city's outskirts. The battle for the hidden city raged on, a maelstrom of fire and fury. Valtor, Maya, Alara, and their allies fought with a determination born of necessity and hope. The Federation's forces were relentless, their superior numbers and advanced technology pushing the defenders to their limits. Valtor stood at the heart of the battle, the heart of Ether glowing brightly in his hands. He used its power to create energy barriers, heal the wounded, and launch devastating counterattacks. But even with the artifact's immense power, the situation grew increasingly dire. Maya worked tirelessly at her console, hacking into the Federation's systems to disrupt their communications and disable their weapons. Her fingers danced over the controls, her mind sharp and focused. She knew that every second she bought for their forces could mean the difference between victory and defeat. Alara led the ground troops with unyielding resolve, her strategic brilliance turning the tide in key skirmishes. She directed her fighters with precision, exploiting weaknesses in the Federation's formations and using the city's terrain to their advantage. Despite their efforts, the Federation began to gain ground. Their ships rained destruction from above, and their soldiers advanced inexorably through the city streets. Valtor felt the strain of maintaining the artifact's power, the immense energy taking its toll on his body and mind. As the Federation forces closed in on the temple, Valtor knew they were running out of time. He called Maya and Alara to his side, their faces grim but resolute. "We need to make a stand here," he said, his voice firm. "If they take the heart of Ether, everything we've fought for will be lost." Maya nodded, her eyes filled with determination. "We'll hold them off as long as we can, but if it comes to it, you need to take the artifact and get out of here. It's too important to fall into their hands." Alara placed a hand on Valtor's shoulder. "We believe in you, Valtor. Whatever happens, know that we've given everything for this cause." Valtor felt a surge of gratitude and resolve. "Thank you, both of you. Let's make our stand." The final assault came with a fury unmatched by anything they had faced before. Federation soldiers stormed the temple, their weapons blazing. Valter used the Heart of Ether to create a protective barrier, buying them precious moments as the defenders fought back with everything they had. The battle reached a fever pitch, the temple shaking with the force of the conflict. Valter felt the artifact's energy coursing through him, pushing him to the brink. He knew he couldn't hold out much longer. In a desperate gambit, he reached deep within himself and the artifact, calling upon the ancient knowledge and power that lay within. With a surge of energy, he unleashed a wave of light that swept through the temple, pushing the Federation forces back and giving their allies a moment of respite. But the strain was too much. Valter collapsed to his knees, the Heart of Ether slipping from his grasp. Maya and Alara rushed to his side, their faces filled with concern. "Valter, no!" Maya cried, trying to lift him. Valter shook his head weakly. I'm okay, just need a moment." Before they could react, the Federation commander, a ruthless figure clad in black armor, stepped forward. "This ends now, Valter. Hand over the artifact or watch your friends die." Valter struggled to his feet, his eyes blazing with defiance. "You'll never have the Heart of Ether. It belongs to those who will use it for good, not for power and destruction." The commander raised his weapon, aiming it at Valter. But before he could fire, a sudden explosion rocked the temple, throwing everyone off balance. Reinforcements had arrived, led by other resistance groups inspired by Valter's message. In the ensuing chaos, Valter summoned the last of his strength and seized the Heart of Ether. With a final, desperate effort, he channeled its power into a blinding surge of energy that swept through the temple, incapacitating the Federation forces and driving them back. As the dust settled, Valter fell to the ground, exhausted but victorious. Maya and Alara rushed to his side, their faces filled with relief. "We did it," Maya said, her voice choked with emotion. "We actually did it." Valter managed a weak smile. "We did it together. Now we rebuild, for a future where the Heart of Ether can be a beacon of hope and not a tool of tyranny." With the Federation forces defeated and the hidden city secure, Valtor, Maya, Alara, and their allies began the long, arduous process of rebuilding. They knew the road ahead would be challenging, but they faced it with hope and determination. The Heart of Ether remained a symbol of their struggle and their triumph, a reminder of the power that lay within unity and purpose. As they worked to create a new future, Valter felt a deep sense of redemption and fulfillment. They had protected the artifact and their world, but more importantly, they had proven that even in the darkest of times, the light of hope could shine through, and with that light, they would forge a brighter tomorrow for all.